Podcast. For the fans, by the fans. For the love of the game.
How's it going, baseball fans? I'm Jackson.
And I'm Thomas. Welcome to Chop House Chatter.
All right.
We have Hall of Fame Tuesday. We have the 2024 Hall of Fame inductees going in at 6 p.m. tonight. How you feel about it, Jackson?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's a fun day. I think this is the point in the offseason where you start to feel like you're coasting downhill.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as you hit that Hall of Fame, you start, okay, we're now getting into baseball season. It's starting to feel good now.
You know, we're only a couple of weeks away from the Super Bowl, and once you hit that, it's baseball season. After the moment that's over, to turn on MLB Network 24/7, right?
Now, this is a baseball podcast, but I'm gonna switch it over to football just for like 10 seconds. We have Final Four teams going into the playoffs. Who's your prediction for who's going to be in the Super Bowl?
It's probably going to be Chiefs-Niners.
Chiefs-Niners. All right. I want it to be the Chiefs and the Lions just so I can see the head-to-head of Eminem and Taylor Swift. That's it. Nothing to do with football. Just I want to see them in the stadium together, everybody losing their minds.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Could you imagine a baseball matchup, Giants-Royals? Oh, wait, we already got that, didn't we?
All right, back to baseball news. So anyone that's not familiar with the Hall of Fame induction process. So we currently have 26 players that are on the ballot to get into the Hall of Fame. And each person that's actually voting for the Hall of Fame, they only have 10 votes to get out. Now, each player, if they get inducted into the Hall of Fame, they have to be a part of 75% of the ballots. Is that correct?
Yes.
You got anybody that's been on the ballot for multiple years? Anybody you want to highlight for who you think has had a lot of votes that are like right there on the cusp of it, but haven't been there yet?
I think it's about time Todd Helton gets in.
Yeah, Todd Helton, he has the highest vote percentage of the past years that are actually returning, 72.2% of the vote last year. So he only needs 0.8. That's literally one more vote to get in there. So I think he will make it for this year.
Yeah, I mean, Coors Field aside, the dude could hit.
Yeah. And of course, you see who's behind me, number 25. I don't think Andrew gets in there this year. He got 58% of the votes last year, but he's only been on the ballot for 7 years. You have people like Gary Sheffield has been on the ballot for 10 years. So if Andrew doesn't get it this year, again, I would love to see Andrew make it into the Hall of Fame this year, but I just don't see it happen. What about you?
You know, I'm going to fact check myself from the other night when we recorded. Andrew Jones is one of 4 players with 10 gold gloves and 400 home runs. You were correct. Willie Mays does have 10 gold gloves.
Yeah.
I forgot the gold glove. I forgot it came in 1957.
Maybe 1 or 2 years before you were born. No big deal.
Yeah. Look, I expected them to have some. I just didn't expect them to have 10. So I figured it came in some point around that time. So, but yeah, Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Schmidt, Andrew Jones, 400 home runs, 10 gold gloves.
All right, so we are going to play a fun game here. We are going to pretend we're a part of the voting committee. We have 10 votes to give out across the 26 people on the ballot, and I will have the ballot on this side of the screen somewhere so all the fans can see who's actually on the ballot this year. So let's go back and forth here. Who is the first person you're giving a vote to?
If I were to start just from scratch looking at all the names, you have to Adrian Beltre is an auto check mark.
Auto check mark. Automatically put him in there.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. You vote for Adrian Beltre. So I know there's one baseball writer we know that didn't vote for Adrian Beltre. You're wrong. You're stupid.
Let's see. And this isn't the most obvious person, but it's my favorite person. I'm completely biased. My first vote is definitely going to go to Andrew. And
That's
Andrew,
a good vote.
like we just said, 10 gold gloves, one of the best players to ever roam in center field. He had all of his success came when he was in Atlanta. 10 straight gold glove awards. His career kind of fell off when he left Atlanta. I wish if we could just not look at those Oriole days, not look at those Yankee days, I think Andrew would be in there, but the tail end of his career kind of like hit it for me.
I mean, for 10 years, he was the best center fielder in the league. So
yeah, Yeah, definitely.
10 years is a long time to be good
It,
at center field
exactly.
of all
Yes.
positions.
And that's such a competitive position out there. So yeah, him being the best in his position, being able to have the best glove out there, and then he provided a little pop at the plate as well. It was gorgeous to see.
Yeah, so that's a great pick. I would also vote for Andrew Jones, so mark him down on my ballot as well.
All right, Andrew got 2 votes from us. I like his odds right now. Who else you got for him?
Uh, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I operate on the Hall of Fame voting philosophies. If they're not on the first ballot, they shouldn't be on any ballot because either they're a Hall of Famer or not.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer. All right. How many
So
times has Mauer been on the, or is this
this
his
is
first?
this is his first ballot.
This
So
is his first ballot.
the,
Okay.
the the only knock against Mauer is he stopped playing catcher. But that's because he got hit in the head too much.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But look, as a catcher, he won an MVP
Mm-hmm.
and 3 batting titles and 5 Silver Sluggers.
Yeah.
Like,
So
come on.
you're throwing that vote at Joe Mauer, unbelievable catcher. Let's see. 14. No, not that. Let's see. Moving on down. I'm trying to go down my list of all my notes that I had here. 15 years of service time. Yeah, Mauer was that guy at catcher. He was Yachty before Yachty, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was the face of the MLB from what, like 2007 to 2010.
I would say one of the faces. I'm not going to say the face. He wasn't like a who would our face be right now? Would it be a Mike Trout? Would it be a Ronald Acuna Jr.?
Nowadays, it kind of feels like it's Otani or Acuna.
Yeah.
I would lead Otani. They've gone hard into the Otani, but I feel like Joe Mauer. Come on, he was on the cover of MLB The Show for what, like 4 straight years.
Gotcha. And everybody loves MLB The Show.
Everybody loves MLB The Show. Come on.
All right, so I'm gonna throw my next vote at David Wright, Mr. Met.
Ooh,
David Wright, first year on the
see it.
ballot. Man, I hated playing against David Wright. He was the Chipper Jones of not was it still Sheffield back there or was it City at back then?
I think they at the end of his he started at Shea and then he finished at City.
Got it. So yeah, I'm throwing that vote at David Wright, first year on the ballot. He was he was just a Mr. Consistent that you had for the Mets. Like we had Chipper, we had Andrew, they had David Wright, always out there patrolling the hot corner. It was a good rivalry, good battle when you had Chipper and David Wright going against each other.
Yeah, I mean, for me, David Wright probably just didn't play long enough, healthy, and that's the thing. It's not a bad thing. David Wright's probably like one of those guys that if he played one more good season and got to those 2,000 hits, I think he's an auto lock for the Hall of Fame because he was just that good. He was nasty when he was good.
Got it. So like that pick, I definitely had to throw a pick at David Wright. Who else you got on your list?
Todd. I mentioned Todd Helton. Todd Helton deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Look, like everybody, I know Coors Field was wild in the '90s. Helton played a lot in the 2000s when they started using the humidor, whatever that's called. But even then, Helton was a Gold Glove first baseman. He has a .414 career on base percentage.
316 batting average over 17 years. That's ridiculous there.
And even the advanced statistics. So if you guys know how OPS plus works, it adjusts for ballpark. And Coors Field has a massive penalty. So if you play at Coors Field a lot, your OPS plus sucks. He had a 133 OPS plus, even playing at Coors Field. So that's pretty good.
And how many total did you have? Did you give out all 10 votes or did you leave some of them off?
I did not. I think I mentioned before I had 6. I think I really have 7 players.
7 players. I only had 5 actually. So I'm going to give you my last one. I did have Helton as well, but my last vote that I gave out, I am giving out to Jimmy Rollins, Mr. Philly himself. Love Jimmy, just like David Wright with the Mets. He had Jimmy Rollins, that other guy that was at second base. Not even going to mention Mr. Dirty himself. And then Ryan Howard. I mean, I love that Phillies team there, and I would love to see Jimmy in
there. I disagree on Jimmy Rollins, but I could see.
No problem.
You know,
Everybody has a different ballot. No
yeah,
issues here.
I feel like he didn't hit good enough for long enough. If that makes any
Let's
sense.
let's see. Let's pull up Jimmy's numbers. Jimmy Rollins, where you at, sir? He has been on the ballot for 3 years, had 17 years playing, and his
Well,
career
that and
batting
he
average
shouldn't have he
264.
shouldn't have won MVP the year he won MVP.
Who should have
I'm
won
just
it
gonna
that
throw
year?
it out. Oh, I can pull it up for you, and it was definitely Albert Pujols.
All right.
No, it wasn't. I was thinking. I mean, you probably could have given it to Ryan Howard. Prince Fielder had 50 home runs that year, and Matt Holliday led the league in hits, RBIs, and batting average.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
And again, my ballot is a little biased because I like these players as me growing up watching them, me growing up watching the Braves having to compete against them. So that is definitely why I put down David Wright and Jimmy Rollins.
yeah. I mean, Pujols had a down year for his standards. He only hit 32 home runs, but he had a 997
Only,
OPS and
only.
an 8.7 WAR as a first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, crazy,
All
crazy
right,
MVP.
hit me with your next vote. Who you got?
Uh, you know, relief pitchers get a lot of shade. There's only 8 of them in the Hall of Fame. It's time to put Billy Wagner in the Hall of Fame.
Throwing Billy in there. Billy had the next highest percentage from the previous year, 68.1% of the vote last year. So he's
Yes.
almost there. He's knocking on the door.
Yeah, like he pitched only 900 innings, but they were 900 really, really good innings. If you compare him to other Hall of Fame relievers like Rich Gossage, Lee Smith, Hoyt Wilhelm, who all have more, innings than him,
Mm-hmm.
but not by a ton. I mean, Gossage and Wilhelm were starters to start their career, and when they played, they let relievers go a lot longer. But Billy Wagner had he struck out a ton of batters. I think his ERA plus is like 200, so he was twice as good as the average reliever. And
Almost
among
1,200 strikeouts. Jesus Christ.
in 900, yeah,
At a
wild.
2.31 ERA. Yeah. Let's go ahead and
Which,
throw him in there.
which is only behind among relievers, only behind Mariano Rivera.
This is a
That
crazy
ERA
number here.
number. Yeah.
He had 903 innings pitched, only gave up 82 total home runs.
Yeah, he
That
only walked 300 batters too.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get Billy in there because Billy's numbers are kind of a little off the charts here.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go ahead and get another relief pitcher in the hall.
Yeah. So Billy Wagner, probably the greatest left-handed reliever of all time.
All right, switching back over to me, I'm gonna give a negative vote just so we don't see him in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to see Alex Rodriguez in there. I'm
Oh,
giving a negative vote. Take some away from Alex Rodriguez.
yeah. Now, I look at this ballot, and this is the ballot where you start to have guys who were, punished for using steroids. So you got A-Rod on there. You got Manny Ramirez. I think K-Rod got in trouble with domestic violence. Vizquel has domestic violence problems. There's a couple of guys on here that have some problematic stuff.
Chase Utley.
Chase Utley almost killing Ruben Tejada.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think A-Rod's gonna get the Barry Bonds treatment. They won't let him in, and then like 50 years from now, they'll be like, okay, A-Rod, you can come in.
Okay. The way I see it here is until you let people like Pete Rose into the hall, you cannot let people like A-Rod and Barry Bonds into the hall. Because Pete Rose had the numbers and he did it without enhancing himself. Yes, what he did off the field was a little shaky, but the way I see it, he wasn't betting against himself and throwing games. He was betting for himself, and I think that makes you play a little bit better. You have something on the line. But hey, I'm not perfect. That's just how I see it.
He never said he wasn't betting on other teams, and him being a manager, he has proprietary knowledge.
Yeah.
Of who's playing what day and who's feeling how. So
well, I'm gonna live in my fantasy world and pretend he was only betting on his teams.
Okay, that's fair. I'll let that be.
Yes,
everyone
I love my fantasy world. Love it. Who else you got on your list? I got Beltray for you. Got Andrew, Joe Mauer, Helton, Billy Wagner. Anybody else?
Carlos Beltran.
You throwing Carlos Beltran in there? Carlos, let's see. This is his second year on the ballot. 46.5% of the votes last year.
So insert the bang bang haha trash can meme, whatever. I'd like to point out Carlos Beltran used a trash can and had a 666 OPS.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros did nothing wrong.
No.
But Beltran had 435 home runs, 2,700 hits. He stole 312 bases. I think he's one of the only players to have over 400 home runs, 300 stolen bases. And the dude was good.
279 batting average. He was a great player. Yeah.
He was good. He played for a lot of teams. He played for Kansas City. He played for Houston. He played for the Mets. He played for the Giants. He played for the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Rangers, and then Houston again.
I mainly remember his time with the Mets, but he was definitely a killer. He was definitely a threat out there every time he stepped in the box.
Yeah, the dude can mash. He was a switch hitter, which makes his numbers very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have to put Carlos Beltran in there, but bang bang, here comes the breaking ball or whatever.
I missed somebody on my list. Oh no, I had Billy Wagner as well. That's what we were missing on my list. I knew I had 5 on there.
Great minds think alike.
Yes. Let's see. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Did you have one more?
Yeah, and this is a selfish vote. Mark Burley. Put Mark Burley in the Hall of Fame.
All right, tell me about Burley. I don't know anything about Mark Burley.
So Mark Burley pitched most of his career with the White Sox in the 2000s. The White Sox were good for approximately 1 year in the 2000s when they won the World Series. But I digress. So Mark Burley had a 16-year career, Thomas. He pitched 3,283 innings.
Oof.
Every full season he pitched, except for his last season, he pitched 200 innings. And in his final year, he pitched 198 and 2/3 innings. He was one out. He was, an inning and an out short, but he has a career 3.1 ERA. He won 214 games. And I think he's quite literally the last of a dying breed of workhorse pitchers.
Yeah. All right, throwing it at Mark Burley then. Okay.
Also, he was a really good defender, and he's made one of the greatest plays of all time as a pitcher.
And what was that play?
He fielded a bunt to his left, and he's a lefty, so he ran and scooped the ball with his glove through his legs to Paul Konerko, falling into foul territory.
Was that the White Sox pitcher? Is that what I'm thinking of? Okay, yeah. I definitely remember him now.
So Mark Burley was a good defensive pitcher. So if we're going to reward defense, reward Mark Burley.
All right.
Four-time Gold Glover.
So we got our Hall of Fame list for who we would love to get into the Hall of Fame tonight. Give me 2 current players that you would give a vote to if their career ended right now. Who's one of those 2 players for you?
Mike Trout.
I'm definitely going with Mike Trout. That's definitely easy, guaranteed. Anybody else?
Probably Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
I mean the other easy answer is Clayton Kershaw.
I'm going with Scherzer. I think Scherzer right now is a Hall of Fame pitcher. He just as soon as he ends, maybe not first round, but he's definitely getting into the Hall of Fame before he gets off the ballot.
Yeah, if we're talking first ballot, it's going to be Mike Trout and Clayton Kershaw.
Okay. What about Mad Bum? Mad Bum get in there? No. Okay. Sorry, Mad Bum, not making it.
He gets his own little wing in the Giants dynasty part of the Hall of Fame where they won those 3 World Series, but
send him into the Giants Hall of Fame, but no Major League Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no Major League Hall of Fame.
All right. Anything else for tonight's vote?
I don't think so. And just remember, guys, there's a lot of really good players. We're not going to vote for your favorite players. The writers are probably not going to vote for your favorite players.
Yeah.
They vote for their favorite players. So this is worse than the baseball playoffs. It's like a big crapshoot.
Yeah.
Of trying to decipher who's going to vote for what, especially since all the voters aren't revealed who's voting for who, which I find absolutely ridiculous. But
I think everybody's vote should be revealed at the end of it. This is how I voted. I'm standing by it, and I can justify it. I can defend it. But with it all being anonymous, hey, vote for one person, and that's your ballot.
Yeah, and of course, there's that guy every year who votes for nobody.
Yeah. Just why even have a ballot if you're not going to use it? At least send one total vote out there.
Yeah, and then there's another guy who only votes for 3, I think. He's a small hall guy, but he actually rotates his votes.
How so?
So I think this year he drops. I think he was one of the guys that didn't vote for Beltre, but his reasoning was Beltre's going to get in anyways, and I think there's 4 Hall of Famers on this ballot.
how do you justify, oh, he's gonna get in there anyways, let me not use one of my 10 votes for him, and you're not even using all 10?
I don't know. That was his mental math.
That's that's one of the stupidest things. Like, the people that are guaranteed should be 100%, they're not in there because of those types of people. Oh, I know Chipper Jones is gonna make it, so I'm not gonna vote for him. Really?
But I'm not going to use all 10 of my votes.
Yeah, makes no sense. But all right, that's it for us. We're gonna have a good voting. Gonna have a good time. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, January 23rd. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be able to see some former Braves hopefully making it to the Hall of Fame. Hopefully they have a Braves hat on their head. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch, and in the coming years, hopefully we'll see some more Braves
All
enter the
right.
Hall of Fame as some guys, some of our older friends start to depart the baseball world.
Yeah. All right. And as always, chop on.
Yeah, chop on.